Welcome to The Shoreline, brought to you by Shores and Islands, Ohio, where finding your lake area love is a sure thing. Thank you for joining us. I am your host, Jill Bauer, PR Manager for Shores and Islands, Ohio. We bring you The Shoreline every week to give you the inside scoop on what's happening here in our island and coastal communities. Thank you for being here again this week as we continue through the month of April. I hope you enjoyed learning about the upcoming Dock Dogs event at Put-in-Bay next month, which was on last week's episode. We've got fun events like that going on year-round. You can always find all the happenings on our events calendar at shoresandislands.com. For instance, this coming week, we have one of our amazing Ned Talks with Kim Kaufman of the Black Swamp Bird Observatory, who will be educating us all on local birding. That will be April 16th at the Shores and Islands Ohio Welcome Center in Port Clinton. This weekend, there is a spring wine dinner at Gideon Owen Wine Company and a spring sip and shop at Twin Oaks Brewery, both in Catawba. And this weekend also brings the first ever Halfway to Halloween, a pre-season event at Put-in-Bay. This costume party will be celebrated at Mr. Ed's Bar on April 18th. And speaking of Put-in-Bay, April episodes of The Shoreline are brought to you by the Put-in-Bay Chamber of Commerce and Tourism Bureau. Plan your next everyday island getaway to Put-in-Bay at visitputinbay.com, your official website for the island. April's America 250 theme for the state of Ohio is Transportation. Explore Ohio's many contributions to America's transportation story. So in that vein, we have a couple of transportation-related events coming up this month. The Milan Library presents Transportation in the Milan Canal on April 24th. Our Sandusky Shores and Islands Welcome Center is hosting a time traveler history talk about retracing the Lakeshore Electric Railway on April 28th. Another form of transportation is via boat. So the Progressive Catawba Island Boat Show takes place April 24th through 26th in Catawba. And of course, the world's oldest form of transportation is by foot. If you wanted to get somewhere, you walked, or maybe you ran. But these days, walking and running are a somewhat enjoyable and beneficial form of exercise and also great for your mental health. Today, we have a guest to share with us all about a local, national, and international walk and run event. Joining us is Martin Drobick-Hampshire, a wildlife communication specialist with the Ohio Department of Natural Resources. You may recall Martin joined us previously with his coworker Emily to inspire us with the ODNR's H2 Ohio Students Take Action program, educating students and the general public about wetlands and water quality. If you are interested in learning more about that, please go back to Season 2, Episode 35 and take a listen. But also stay tuned because Martin and Emily will be back in just a couple of months to promote Lake Erie Awareness Day coming this August. But when he was on previously, Martin let me know that he's also an avid runner and is one of the event directors for our local park run held weekly at Osborn MetroPark in Huron. Martin is originally from the south coast of England, not too far from Southampton. However, he developed his passion for park run while studying for his master's degree in South Africa. Martin moved to Ohio in 2018 to be with his now wife, Morgan, whom also shares his love of nature and park run. Martin and Morgan live in Sandusky with their twin one-year-old girls and their dog Malibu, who all participate in park run. Today, he's here to tell us all about that program. Welcome back to The Shoreline, Martin.
Hey, thank you for having me. And yeah, that was, I know, quite the intro. I added a lot of stuff for you to say, so I apologize for that.
Not at all. Not at all. We love it. We love knowing everything that we can about you and your background. And it's so interesting to me. It's fascinating how you ended up here, but also that Park Run is not just a local event. This is a worldwide phenomenon. So let's start with just the basics for our listeners who might be new to it. Can you explain to us what Park Run is and then kind of what makes it unique?
What sets Park Run apart from other runs is that it's free, for one, and it's weekly. So it happens every Saturday at a local park in the same place every week. But there are multiple parkrun locations all across the country and all across the world. So you can literally do 52 plus runs in a year at your same event, or you can travel to different events as well.
I think that is so amazing. And I've learned about this from you and from the folks at Erie MetroParks, from some friends that have participated. And that is really fascinating to know that Park Run is not just a local event. It is happening all over. What I didn't realize is that it's always on Saturday and it's always at 9 a.m. So regardless of where you're traveling, you should be able to find a park run.
I mean, it's definitely still growing in this country, but if you're traveling to Europe or Australia, there's a great chance that wherever you're going to go, you're going to be near a park run.
Wow.
I should say that although in our area it's 9 a.m., there are some areas where it starts a little bit earlier or later, depending on the climate of that region. I know like Scotland has a later start and like some of the southern states have an earlier start so that, it warms up or gets light enough for people to run.
Well, that makes sense. So Park Run is actually kind of a global movement. Do you know much about the history of the organization and how it got started?
I've read about it a little bit. They love to promote like their anniversaries. And a couple of years ago, they celebrated 20 years. So it actually started way back in 2004. And it was basically just a group of friends that would run regularly. And I think one of the guys in that group, Paul Sinton Hewitt, I can't remember what happened, but he injured himself, but he still wanted to be part of this running group. So he essentially just said, hey, how about I time you guys and we'll do a 5K. And then they did it again the next week and then again the next week. And then they started, it wasn't Parkrun initially. It had a different name, but it developed into this thing that was more than just a group of friends. It expanded to quite a few people at this local park, which was in London in England. And then it got so big that someone was like, hey, how about I start a second location? And then, it just kind of
snowballed
from there.
That is incredible. And you personally got involved when you were studying in South Africa. How did that come to be?
Yeah, it's funny that, I'm from England and this started in England, but I didn't hear about it until I moved to South Africa. And by that point, parkrun had been running for 10 years. So yeah, my now wife, Morgan, and we were active, keeping fit and active runners in South Africa. And one of our friends who was a lot more into running than us, like she would run like marathons and ultra marathons, she introduced us to the local park run in Pietermaritzburg. So Morgan and I participated in that and we thought maybe it was just a South African thing. And it wasn't until the next summer when we both went back to England for like a vacation that I realized there was one literally 15 minutes away from my parents' house. So we did that one. And then after that, we were hooked. Like we were doing it most weekends and we were following the Facebook pages. We were following our stats and learning more and more about parkrun and realizing that it is a global phenomenon.
Well, when did the local park run at Osborn MetroPark get started?
So that was a few years later. So I moved to South Africa in 2014, and that's when Morgan and I started dating. She finished up her PhD in 2016 and moved to Ohio. And then I followed her over a couple years later, by which time I'd moved back to England because I'd also finished my studies. So I finally moved to Ohio in 2018. And by that point, the closest park run was in Mansfield. They were Ohio's first event. But, that's like an hour and 15 minutes away, and to get up early on a Saturday morning to drive for a 9 a.m. start was kind of difficult to do. And we did that a few times, and then Cleveland got one, so we also traveled to that one a couple times. But really it was when I was at Erie MetroParks, I proposed the idea to my colleagues that Erie MetroParks, and in particular Osborn, would be a perfect location for it. It's kind of central to Sandusky and Huron, and it's very well known and everyone has a great opinion of it. And a lot of people go there to run anyway. So I kind of proposed that idea and I spoke to some people in the Friends of Erie MetroParks and I spoke to some other local runners and other people that were interested in the idea. And we kind of put together this core team of volunteers to kind of go through all the paperwork. That very first event was amazing to me because we had people from loads of other local events visit and support us. But we had 42 people that very first event. And I knew that we were never going to maintain those numbers. So the first couple of years, we were in the teens for most weeks. Sometimes we'd be in single figures. Sometimes it would get to 20 or so. But as I said, we average like 15, which is great. And it's not always the same 15 people. It's like a constant flow of new people and returnees and people from elsewhere. So I think that's what makes it so unique, is that you just don't know what to expect when you turn up on a Saturday morning, how many people there's going to be, what interesting people you're going to meet. Yeah, I love it.
So jumping ahead, though, you mentioned people come in from elsewhere. Have you had some interesting out-of-towners or people that are here, visiting the region that participate?
Yeah, and I thought that like Cedar Point and the fact that Sandusky and the general area, we're great for tourists. And I thought that might attract a lot of park runners from around the globe. But it hasn't really been like that too much. We do get a lot of tourists. On average, we'd say like 1 or 2 tourists every week. But a lot of those are just in town for the parkrun. Like parkrun it's not a cult. I want to say that clearly, but you could definitely be mistaken by calling it a cult.
That's funny.
People travel just for parkruns. And we've had people from the other events in Ohio. Michigan has a few events. There are events down in Florida that we've had people visit from. Canada has quite a few events. We've had visitors from there. But even more amazingly, we've had visitors from England, from Ireland, from South Africa, and even Australia. In fact, recently, over this past winter, there was a guy from Australia that he needed to go to Cleveland for a work trip. And he convinced his employers to let him go 2 days earlier. And he told them it was so that he could rest after the long flight. But he told me it was so that he could be there on a Saturday so that he could drive to parkrun.
Wow, that's dedication.
Yeah.
Give me a little bit of the structure of the event, because you mentioned that it's timed. So it's really, it's not a race per se. You're not racing against other folks. It's just kind of to beat your own PR, right?
Right. And that's something that parkrun is very clear about. It is not a race. It is a run. And it doesn't even have to be a run for everyone. Like walkers are more than welcome. But yeah, how it works is a one-time registration. The registration is free as well. You can do that by parkrun.us/register. Once you register, you get a unique barcode. You can print this off. You can save it to your smartwatch. Or there's now an app, the parkrun, official parkrun app can save your barcode as well. After that, you turn up to an event. There's always a first timers welcome for anyone that's new, followed by like introductions and announcements. And then the run begins. And as you said, you're competing against yourself. Or some people aren't really competing. They're just there for the social experience. But they complete the 5K, they return to the finish line, and then they get given a token. And that token is a finish token, which is then scanned in alongside your barcode. And that links your finish position to your account. And then we have a timekeeper that links the finish position to a time. It's all done by apps on a smartphone. So it's a really simple process, and you don't take anything away with you beyond the barcode that you came with.
All right. Well, that's really interesting. I guess some people are just doing it for the fun of it. As you mentioned, it's a social event. It can be great, recreation, great exercise. And I know you mentioned that you yourself are a fan. You were doing it long before you started the one here. So as the organizer, do you get a chance to participate yourself, or are you usually working in other roles?
I get to run occasionally, not as much as I would like, but that's just part of what I've created. I'm one of the event directors, and as I mentioned earlier, this is completely volunteer-based. So we require 5 or 6 volunteers every week to get our parkrun to run. And I would say more often than not, I am one of those volunteers, which is okay because I love spreading the passion for parkrun as well. But of course, if there's enough volunteers that I'm not needed, then of course I'm going to take that option to run myself.
Oh, that's wonderful. So what kind of roles are available for folks that might be interested in helping out and volunteering?
Yeah, as I said, there's like 5 or 6 main roles, and then there's a few others beyond that. There always needs to be a run director. So that is someone that oversees all the other volunteers, make sure that they know what they're doing, That person also responds to any incidents that might occur. We're a small event. We don't have incidents, but it's always possible. And then the other core roles is there needs to be someone that's the timekeeper, someone that hands out tokens for the finish positions, and then someone that scans in those barcodes and tokens. And then finally, and I think this is something that a lot of people are really appreciative of, is there's a volunteer role called tail walker. That person is volunteering to finish last. So a lot of people might be put off by the idea of coming to a run because they might finish last. Well, we can guarantee if you come to our park run, you are not finishing last because someone is literally volunteering to do that.
I love that. I volunteer as tribute. I can bring up the rear.
Right.
So it sounds like there's kind of a role for anyone that wants to participate, whether they're an athlete or not. How does somebody get involved at the volunteer level?
The easiest way is just to either email us or message us on Facebook or Instagram. Our email address is osbornmetropark@parkrun.com. And then on Facebook and Instagram, you can find us by just searching Osborn MetroPark Parkrun. It's usually me or my co-event director, Denise, that follow these pages and respond to you. But yeah, we can sign you up. We can tell you how it all works. We can answer any questions and make sure that you are prepared by the time you come to one of these events.
So you mentioned some people are running it, maybe they're trying to train for a larger event, or, they're trying to beat their own personal PR. But a lot of people are walking the event as well. So anybody, regardless of fitness level, is welcome to participate. What about kids or pets or things like that?
Yeah, as I said, people come for all sorts of reasons, and we have quite a few people that come to walk their dog or run with their dog, because it's a great way to, get your dog exercise. And then, kids, as soon as the kid is 4 years old, they can get an account. Obviously, they don't have to. They can participate. And we welcome people of all ages. There is one rule for, I guess a couple rules I should mention, is that dogs must be on a short handheld leash, and there's a limit of one dog per person. And that's so that, they don't get in each other's way and trip people up. And then for kids, any kid under 11 must be within arm's reach of a responsible adult. So those are rules set by Parkrun, not set by us, but we do, of course, follow those rules.
That all sounds perfectly acceptable. Totally understandable. So when we were talking earlier about people traveling for Parkrun, I'm going to shout out friend Jason Whirling from the Sandusky Recreation Department, because I follow him on Facebook, and he often is in other cities participating in Parkrun, and I would guess he probably got his start here in Huron, correct?
He absolutely did. Yeah, he was there for our very first event. He was actually 5 minutes late, but he turns up a lot. He's one of our only participants that has done over 100 park runs.
Yeah, he just reached that milestone.
Right. And as you suggested, they have not been all at Osborn. He loves to seek out other places that he can compete. He has even done park runs in Ireland. I think he told me that he had a flight to Ireland, and either he did a park run the day that he landed or the day that he was leaving. I can't remember which way around it was, but yeah, he's very wary of where these park runs are and when he can do them.
I love that. So hopefully we'll have some listeners maybe that participate in their own local park runs. Now they know that the opportunity exists when they come to Shores and Islands, Ohio, as long as they can plan their visit around a Saturday, that they can come out to Osborn and participate with you guys. It sounds like it's a really fun event. I bet you probably feel like such a sense of community with the folks that come out.
I do. I've met so many people through Parkrun. No, I'm not from here. I've lived here since 2018. My wife was here 2 years before. We've met a lot of people through Parkrun and through the Friends of Erie Metro Parks that help support the event and help get it started. And I want to give a shout out in particular to Denise, who is my co-event director. She volunteered a lot early on. Mm-hmm. And then a couple years ago, we found out that my wife was pregnant and we were going to have twins. And I knew, obviously, I was going to have to take a step back because twins. And before that point, I was the only event director and I was volunteering a lot. But Denise was very keen to kind of step in as co-event director, and parkrun would not be what it is without her. I travel a lot, or I have 2 twin girls to care for, so a lot of weeks nowadays I can't be there. But Denise makes sure that either she or covering a lot of those roles, or makes sure that she has people in those positions as well to make sure those events go ahead. So yeah, definitely want to give out to Denise and a few of the others as well. There's quite a few that have volunteered a lot. There's multiple people that have volunteered over 50 times, which is incredible.
It really is. Do you know of other local participants that have maybe gone to park runs in other locations?
Yeah, actually, just this past weekend, one of our park runners, Joel, and his family, they just had a vacation to Arizona, and they did a park run there near Sedona. I think it was like an hour outside of Sedona, Arizona, and they did that park run. But yeah, I'm a big stats person, so I like to keep track of where our park runners travel to. And we've had a few of our park runners travel to England or Maryland or Florida, and one of our park runners have family in Australia, and they traveled there to visit family. And while they were there, they did a park run in Australia too. And these are all things that they're choosing to do on a Saturday that they would not have chosen to do if it wasn't for Osborn MetroPark Parkrun installing that passion into their brains and into their lives. So I'm just amazed at that people choose to do this.
Yes, that's fantastic. Do you have any other fun stories or any memories from, the past couple of years that you guys have been doing it, or interesting folks that have visited that you found out about what they do differently at their park runs, or any fun tidbits like that?
Yes, every park run does things differently. And I think what's great about park run is because it's all year round, you can have a lot of themed events. If you have a park run around Easter, like we just did, a lot of events around the world are encouraging people to wear bunny ears and interesting spring colors. Around St. Patrick's Day, everyone's wearing green. We always do a Halloween park run every year where we encourage people to come dressed up. It's not mandatory, but a lot of people love to dress up for park run. And then, of course, near Christmas, people are wearing Santa's outfits, and we have this one guy who He mostly goes to the Mansfield Park Run now, but for a while we were his home park run, and he would come dressed up in a dinosaur costume or a gorilla or just all these different costumes just to add some smiles to the event and just to add a little bit of uniqueness. And he definitely brought that.
I love that. He brought some levity to the event as well. Is there, you mentioned you have a Facebook page for the local community. Is Parkrun have any kind of social interactions, like as a worldwide community? Like, can you connect with other people that have a passion for doing park runs?
Yeah, so every event has social media accounts. Mm-hmm. And then each country that participates has an overarching social media account. So we have Parkrun USA, which has an account, and then there's 20 different countries that participate around the world. Each of those will have a Facebook account or an Instagram account. So there's many ways to find other park runners through those groups and pages. And then, of course, there's a Parkrun page that oversees everything and oversees all those different countries. So it's great to just follow different parkrun events or countries that you're interested in learning about, because they're always sharing photos and stories and statistics and all that fun stuff.
So if you go to the general U.S. parkrun page, is that how you can find out about where other parkruns are located?
You can do that via the Facebook page, but the best way to find out about that is through parkrun.us, the webpage. Okay. And while you're there, and I'm just going to type this in as I'm talking, parkrun.us, there at the very top, there's a drop down for events. You can click that and it will show a map of every parkrun event in the USA. There are nearly 100 events, and they're mostly clustered towards the east side of the continent, and Canada as well. But then there's quite a few in the Northwest and California, and Texas has quite a few as well. So yeah, if you go to that map, you can see all the parkrun events actually all across the world. Because if you scroll your map towards Europe, you can see just how inundated with parkrun Europe is.
That's wonderful. That sounds like a really fun thing to check out while you're traveling. And Martin, you mentioned there's a park run in Mansfield and Cleveland area. Do you have any idea how many there are throughout Ohio?
There are 5. Okay. So yeah, we were, I think, the 5th of those to start. So other than us, Mansfield and Cleveland, there's one called Sippo Lake Park Run, which is kind of like in the Akron, Canton area. Okay. And then there's one down halfway between Cincinnati and Dayton. It's in Lebanon called Warren County Arnco Park Run. Yeah. So there are 5, and I've not done the Warren County one, but I have done the other Ohio park runs. But yeah, just check out the map. There's a good chance if you're going to a big city on the eastern half of the U.S., there's probably a park run relatively close by.
And one more time, reiterate that you are running year round.
Yes.
This is happening regardless of if there's snow on the ground, leaves on the ground. Do you run in rain, sunshine? Is it weather dependent, or is there ever a time that you're not going to have the run?
We do have to have a risk assessment that we follow. So we're not allowed to run in thunderstorms, but if there's a thunderstorm passing through at 9 a.m., then we might be able to wait 20 minutes and wait for that thunderstorm to pass. We're okay running in the rain, and we've done that quite a bit. I would say we're relatively lucky, though, that it generally doesn't rain too much on park run days, which is great. And then the other side of the year, when it's like snowing, we've done quite a few events in the snow. We do have a winter course. So our summer course is more of like a cross-country trail running course. We switched that to a paved course around the soccer fields at Osborn for the winter. So like from December through to the end of March. That does get icy. So if we have really icy conditions, we'll cancel. But over the past couple of years, the main reasons we've canceled are for like extreme cold. Because it's okay when you're moving, like running and walking, but we have to look after our volunteers as well. And if it's extremely cold, then they're just going to be standing around freezing their butts off, and we don't want that.
Nobody wants that. No. It really does sound like it's a fantastic community event, and hopefully folks that are listening will come check it out. Do you have any final words, anything else that we didn't cover, or just a reason encourage our listeners to come check you guys out?
So a couple of things, I guess, is any park run that you participate in across the world, all of those stats, all of the finish positions and finish times are collated with your account. So you can follow that on the website or on the app. It's a really great way to just track where you've been to, how many times you've been to these places, and to track your times if that's what you're into. And then if some people might need incentives, so parkrun have incentives, so you can track your milestones. So once you've done 25 finishes, that's your first milestone. Beyond that, it's 50, 100, and then it gets crazy with 250 and 500. But there are some people that's what drives them. Like they want to do 25 Saturdays in a row so that they can get to that milestone as quick as they can. And once you've reached those milestones, you get access to different merchandise. So you can purchase a shirt that says 25 on the back to show people that you've done 25. I've done 100 finishes, which sounds great, but consider I started like 12 years ago. That's not many every year, but no, I love to wear my 100 shirt when I'm running because it's showing support for park run. And a lot of our other park runners that have reached those milestones, and they're buying the merchandise too. And it's not just shirts; it can be a bandana or a wristband, or there's lots of stuff that you can buy with your number on, which is awesome.
I love that because you definitely want to be proud of your accomplishments and bragging rights, right? Like I've been different places. I've done this many park runs. That just adds to the fun and to the sense of community of it all as well.
Right. And with the app, they've added challenges now as well. So some people are motivated by these challenges, and Jason is definitely one of these people who's always...
Why doesn't that surprise me?
So some of these challenges are, for example, attending a park run that begins with every letter of your name. So Jason's been texting me about, there's a W here and there's a J here and so on and so on. So, that's what motivates some people. And there's all sorts of challenges. Like you name a challenge, they probably got it on the app, and that can motivate different people.
Oh my gosh, that is so much fun. So, Martin, two final things. Again, if somebody wants to participate, first they have to register nationally with Parkrun. What is that website?
That website is parkrun.us/register.
And then do they pick their location there, or they just sign up and that works at any location?
It works at any location, but you are encouraged to pick a home parkrun. And our home parkrun name is Osborn MetroPark Parkrun. But even if you pick something else and turn up to our event, like that doesn't stop you from participating.
Okay. And then for finding out information about the local event, again, how do folks find information just about the Osborn Parkrun?
If you go to the website parkrun.us/Osborn MetroPark, that will have all of our basic information. It will tell you exactly where to go, what time, what you need to do. It'll also show all the volunteer positions that are available. And that's also a great way to see previous events. So if you want to see what happened last week or what happened the week before or what happened a year ago, you can find all of that on parkrun.us/Osborn MetroPark. But I would say the best way to keep track of what's going on is to follow our Facebook page. We try to be pretty active on there. We're posting photos of each event. We're posting, who's visiting, who's reaching milestones, what other celebrations are there. So we try and keep active, and that's probably the best way to follow what's going on. It's facebook.com/Osborn Parkrun. Or if you just search Osborn MetroPark Parkrun, you'll find us as well.
That's wonderful. And I highly encourage anybody that's visiting to participate. If you enjoy that kind of recreation, just go out and support it. And if you're local, go and check it out, because maybe if you're intimidated by the run itself, you can volunteer, you can check it out, you can get a feel for it. It sounds like there's a lot of opportunities available, and it sounds like it's a lot of fun. I'll have to come check it out myself.
Yeah, please do.
All right. Well, thank you so much for joining us, Martin. We really appreciate you teaching us all about Parkrun.
Thank you for having me, and hopefully a few of your listeners will turn up in the next few weeks. I guess if there's one date they want to put down in their calendar, it would be at our anniversary run. We like to celebrate that date more than most others. So our 4th anniversary will take place on Saturday, July 18th. And we usually bring cake, and people bring snacks or watermelon, or we have a great time. So please try and turn up for the 18th of July. But we will be there every Saturday unless there's a thunderstorm.
Oh, I love it. I love it. Well, that's wonderful. And folks, if you do participate in the park run, tell them that you heard about it on the shoreline. Well, special thanks to Martin from the Osborn MetroPark Weekly Park Run for joining us today. And a reminder that all of April's episodes of The Shoreline are being brought to you by our friends at the Put-in-Bay Chamber of Commerce and Tourism Bureau. Plan your next everyday island getaway at visitputinbay.com. As always, thank you for listening. If you enjoyed this podcast, please be sure to like and subscribe wherever you listen to podcasts so you don't miss a minute of the action here in Shores and Islands, Ohio. You can also find more information, including past episodes of the podcast, online at shoresandislands.com. You can also find the link to the Osborn MetroPark Park Run in our events calendar at shoresandislands.com. And we will see you next time on The Shoreline.